Since before the first probe was sent into space, mankind has looked to the stars in wonder and relied on them to help them navigate the Earth and its vast oceans. They reached out to the infinite unknown above them in hope to understand what they've yet to comprehend. This desire drove them to uncover technology just enough to create stellar instruments in hopes of grasping even a speck of knowledge that could propel them forwards enough to reach for the stars beyond Sol. History changed for all of mankind when on October 4th, 1957, the Soviet launched Sputnik 1 to orbit around Earth for 3 months. This huge and seemingly significant event sparked an insatiable craving for the sovereignty of the United States of the American Federation to achieve the first step just as the Soviet Union had. Almost instantly, America had followed right up behind with Explorer 1 in 1958, which had discovered the magnetic belts encircling around Earth. Also following Sputnik was the creation of NASA by Congress. NASA then proceeded further in the advancement of exploring the unknown by conventional means to volley itself to the moon and our nearby neighbor, Mars, along with other satellites to explore beyond our past capabilities. Though how were they able to make such advancements in such a short time? What gave them the inspiration to create satellites able to withstand the harsh realm of interstellar space with dense plasma fields in between stars? It was because of the exploration and expansion into space amplified by the encounter and exchange between our government and extraterrestrials that our advancements in technology literally rocketed out of our world.
That some of the ancients and some of the people from antiquity, they discovered this technology from the stars. Some of the ability to create some of these giant building projects like the Great Pyramids, or some of the astrological occurrences that happened 2,000-3,000 years ago. They were pretty precise with their measurements, and yet as far as we know, they weren't operating with the same sort of electricity or things of that nature.
6,000 years ago, the Sumerians had written documents containing information not obtainable with powerful microscopes, such as distance between stars and planets, descriptions of Uranus and Neptune. Among these documents, they spoke of multiple beings, mentioning them as Nephilim, that had taught them about these stars and planets. Throughout the thousands of years after that, countless of people have been in contact with extraterrestrials, causing major achievements such as the pyramids of Giza, the Stonehenge of Wiltshire, and various pieces of artwork. This exposure has led to new and ever-expanding developments of technology. It also exposed the public to this well-known phenomenon as being contacted by the extraterrestrials.
CIA? Man, where to start with them? The ultimate false flag operators? I could get on a rant about the CIA all day. FBI? When are they going to put out the emails? That's my only question. You know, if you backtrack that whole timeline from Sputnik, the various dogs and the primates, the first man in space, that was all the Soviets. Soviet this, Soviet that. The Soviets were beating us. And so we had to do something that would, you know, sort of one-up them. Let's 10-up them. And look, we made it to the moon, without a doubt. I definitely think that for national security reasons, I mean for global security reasons, you know, if that sort of information is declassified, and it's not just like, hey, it happened 60 years ago, now they're gone, they're back to their galaxy. If it's a reoccurring phenomenon, I think that opens the door for religious zealots that may say it's the coming of Christ, or you'll have, you know, I think pandemonium would ensue. Next thing you know, you're getting blasted with a laser beam. And what they're doing is, you know, they got to keep all this stuff on. I think NASA serves a good purpose. Perhaps it did serve a good purpose at one time.
The federal government is well aware of extraterrestrials, but they have their reasons not to tell the public. The infamous Blue Book project was created in 1952 by the United States Air Force. It was a government operation in the investigation of unidentified flying objects. This project had 2 goals: to determine if UFOs were a threat to national security and to scientifically analyze UFO-related data. The federal government has contact with them, and they are currently working together towards something that has not been disclosed. There is evidence that perpetuates the premise that the federal government does in fact force an order to suppress some officials who are vocal about the atrocities done by the American government under the justification that they are affiliated with a terrorist organization and or were a threat to national security. There are concerns about the CIA's covert operations that involve the kidnappings of civilians and sometimes can lead to torturing for information about something they may or may not have witnessed.
Talking 1940s, 1930. I think that would be that's the ripe time for the whole alien encounter phenomenon. You know, it was Orson Welles that put out that radio broadcast, and I think it was the early 30s, where he said we were being invaded, and so many people that were tuned into that broadcast actually believed him, that they were calling the local police, calling the fire department, we're getting invaded, and people were, I mean, legitimate concerns. Then, you know, in the 1950s, we had the big Hollywood movement promoting spacemen and Martians. I think it was after that 1947 Roswell incident that it really exploded. No pun intended. But I definitely think it's possible. I mean, what's up with the place out there in Nevada that we have no access to? These black spots on the map that even regular Air Force pilots aren't even allowed to fly around unless you have access. There's a big movement right now to mine the solar system and the stars, assuming that an asteroid or a comet, something that we'd be able to land on with either craft or with men, we'd be able to mine it for rare materials, gold, lots of minerals in space that we could bank off of.
As connections were made between the federal government and the extraterrestrials, the exchange of technology, ideas, and resources began, just as the natives did with the Europeans. They began to trade for knowledge and resources they have yet to find. The United States would trade anything for a portion of the extraterrestrial technology, including our own people. Governments worldwide covet the exchange of extraterrestrials due to incomprehensible amount of new information that would take decades or even centuries to achieve. The United States federal government has continuous trading with aliens. It's no wonder why we have superior technology than the communists.
I mean, what about stealth technology? I've always pondered the advances in our stealth technology. It's pretty remarkable. That's not to say it came from the stars, though. If we have it, it took someone from these other places.
Since the 1950s, the scientific processes of the United States have significantly advanced. All of the fields of science, including medicine, chemistry, biology, astronomy, and mainly computing, have all rushed forwards. They had basic tech in the mid-20th century compared to today. From the beginnings of space, we knew nothing. Present, we still don't know anything. We never will.
There's one thing when I think about the Cold War and the space race, and I think about some of the big money wasting that we did as a country, we spent close to a decade trying to revolutionize different things we could use in outer space, whether it's lighting a lighter, to growing plants. One of the things that the United States spent almost $7 million doing was trying to perfect a ballpoint pen in space. Probably not to edit this. Considering how many stars are out there in the universe is constantly expanding, been around for billions of years. The fact that we exist on one planet of 9, yes, I still believe that there are 9 planets in our solar system. Think about how many stars are just in our galaxy.